So today is the appearance day of Narasimhadeva. He's going to appear tonight. It means not night, but dusk. So it's like we're getting ready for his appearance. But yeah, so we'll just sing a song to Narasimhadeva, and then we could discuss from the 7th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Namaste Narasimhaya. Prahlada Daine. Hiranyakashipu Vakshaha. Tanka Nakalaye. Ito Nisingha Parato Nisingha. Yata Yata Yamitata Nisingha. Narasimha, Hridaya Narasimha. Narasimhamadim Sharanam Prapade. Tavakara Kamalavare Nakam Adbhuta Shingam Kalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubringam Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Translation. I offer my obeisances to Lord Narasimhadeva, who gives joy to Prahlada Maharaja, and whose nails are like chisels on the stone-like chest of Hiranyakashipu. Lord Narasimha is here and also there. Wherever I go, Lord Narasimha is there. He is in the heart and is outside as well. I surrender to Lord Narasimha, the origin of all things and the supreme refuge. O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of a half man, half lion, all glories to you. With the wonderfully sharp nails on your beautiful lotus hands, you have ripped apart the wasp-like body of Hiranyakashipu. Okay. So this is Sri Padyavali by Rupa Goswami. It's a wonderful book. And what it is, it's a book that Rupa Goswami compiled. He didn't he didn't write it, but he compiled it, and it consists of different shlokas from different devotees. And you could say that these were, some of the favorite of Rupa Goswami. That's why he compiled this book. It says about this book, this Padyavali anthology of poetry was written by devotees expert in the mellows of devotional service. This book contains many beautiful verses which have been collected for the pleasure of the devotees. It illuminates the darkness of ignorance, and it is an ocean of transcendental bliss. That's what Rupa Goswami says. So one of the verses in this book, this is under section called Pitro Vismana Shikshanai, which means instructions and other pastimes that fill Krishna's parents with wonder. Instructions and other pastimes that fill Krishna's parents with wonder. So there's a few different ones in this section. I don't know, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'll read the fourth one. And this is by Śrī Sarvananda. Shamo Chandra Sapashi Nashisho Naiti Mam Adya Nidra Hetu Shrina Sutakatam Kam Upurvam Kurushva Vyakta Stamban Naraharir Abudanavam Darishyan Ityuktasya Smitam Uddayate Devaki Nandanasya. So this means, this is Mother Yashoda. She's talking to Krishna. She says, "O my rising dark moon, my child, you are not asleep? No, sleep has not yet come to me. Listen, my son, I will tell you a bedtime story that will make you fall asleep." Of course, anyways. All right. "Listen, my son, I will tell you a bedtime story that will make you fall asleep." Well, I was thinking that in the Bhagavatam class, we don't want to tell the pastime of, we don't want to start speaking and then everybody fall asleep. But anyways, "Listen, my son, I will tell you a bedtime story that will make you fall asleep. What is this story I've never heard? Please tell it." Mother Yashoda then told the story. When she came to the sentences, then Lord Narasimhadeva appeared from the pillar. Lord Narasimha was very eager to rip the demon to shreds. A smile suddenly arose on child Krishna's lips. So that was it. So she was telling the story, then right when they got to the part where Narasimhadeva was going to rip Hiranyakashipu to shreds, then Krishna smiled. So that was the bedtime story. So what we'll do now is we'll read and discuss from the 7th canto. This is Canto 7, Chapter 8. The Lord slays the king of the demons. And I'll just offer some prayers before we continue. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakya Chakshuram Madhitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Kariti Vachalam Pangam Langai Tegidim Yakripatamaham Vande Shri Gurun Dinitarinam Vancha Kapadribhishcha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So at this particular point, Prahlada Maharaja has been preaching to his classmates. And they've been, you could say they've been experiencing a transformation. They're liking what he's saying. And the teachers are Shanda and Marka. They are worried. They're in fear because Hiranyakashipu, the father of Prahlada Maharaj, is getting very angry. And why are the teachers allowing Prahlada Maharaj to himself? How does Prahlada Maharaj know about all these things? You're the teachers. How does he know about this devotional service? And he's also influencing the students. And at this particular point, Hiranyakashipu is already extremely angry with his son, to the point he was trying to kill him already. He already tried to kill him numerous times. There's very beautiful pictures or paintings that devotees have painted over the years. Most of them many years ago. But some of these pictures are showing just some of the ways. Actually, it was indirectly Hiranyakashipu. He hired people, you could say, or he had people. He was asking his henchmen to kill to Prahlada Maharaj in different ways, but none of it worked. Like here, you have this picture. See that? This one. See Prahlada Maharaj. He's there praying to Krishna, and the demons are there trying to, with spears and swords, and then you have them throwing him off a cliff. See that, Prakash? You didn't see this one, Prakash. See? Oh, you saw? Oh, okay. I didn't think you saw because I guess I thought you were looking at your phone. So they're trying to kill him in so many ways, but he wasn't successful. And then, so this is where we are now. So I'll just read some verses. So, when Shanda and Marka, the sons of Śrī observed that all the students, the sons of the demons, were becoming advanced in Krishna consciousness because of the association of Prahlad, they were afraid. They approached the king of the demons and described the situation as it was. When Hiranyakashipu understood the entire situation, he was extremely angry, so much that his body trembled. Thus he finally decided to kill his son Prahlad. Hiranyakashipu was by nature very cruel, and feeling insulted, he began hissing like a snake trampled upon by someone's foot. His son Prahlad was peaceful, mild, and gentle. His senses were under control, and he stood before Hiranyakashipu with folded hands. According to Prahlad's age and behavior, he was not to be chastised. Yet with staring, crooked eyes, Hiranyakashipu rebuked him with the following harsh words. So this is what he said to him. Hiranyakashipu, Śrī Hiranyakashipu Vacha, which is translated, the blessed Hiranyakashipu said, O most impudent, most unintelligent disruptor of the family, O lowest of mankind. Hare Krishna. You have violated my power to rule you, and therefore you are obstinate fool. Today I shall send you to the place of Yamaraj. My son Prahlad, you rascal, you know that when I become angry, all the planets of the three worlds tremble, along with their chief rulers. By whose power has a rascal like you become so impudent that you appear fearless and overstep my power to rule you? Prahlada Maharaj said, My dear king, the source of my strength of which you are asking is also the source of yours. Indeed, the original source of all kinds of strength is one. He is not only your strength or mine, but the only strength for everyone. Without him, no one can get any strength, whether moving or not moving, superior or inferior. Everyone, including Lord Brahma, is controlled by the strength of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the supreme controller and time factor, is the power of the senses, the power of the mind, the power of the body, and the vital force of the senses. His influence is unlimited. He is the best of all living entities, the controller of the three modes of material nature. By his own power, he creates this cosmic manifestation, maintains it, and annihilates it also. Prahlada Maharaja continued, "My dear father, please give up your demonic mentality. Do not discriminate in your heart between enemies and friends. Make your mind equipoised toward everyone. Except for the uncontrolled and misguided mind, there is no enemy within this world. When one sees everyone on the platform of equality, when one then comes to the position of worshiping the Lord perfectly. In former times there were many fools like you who did not conquer the 6 enemies that still weigh the wealth of the body. These fools were very proud, thinking, I have conquered all enemies in all the 10 directions. But if a person is victorious over the 6 enemies and is equipoised toward all living entities, from him there are no enemies. For him there are no enemies. Enemies are merely imagined by one in ignorance." Hiranyakashipu replied, "You rascal, you are trying to minimize my value, as if you're better than me at controlling the senses. This is overintelligent. I can therefore understand that you desire to die at my hands, for this kind of nonsensical talk is indulged in by those about to die. O most unfortunate Prahlad, you have always described a supreme being other than me, a supreme being who is above everything, who is the controller of everyone, and who is all-pervading. But where is he? If he is everywhere, then why is he not present before me in this pillar? Because you are speaking so much nonsense, I shall now sever your head from your body. Now let me see your most worshipful God come to protect you. I want to see it." He wants to see it. Krishna is the fulfiller of all desires, right? Krishna's like, okay, you want to see? Being obsessed with anger, Hiranyakashipu, who was very great in bodily strength, thus chastised his exalted devotee son Prahlad with harsh words. Cursing him again and again, Hiranyakashipu took up his sword, got up from his royal throne, and with great anger struck his fist against the column. Then from within the pillar came a fearful sound which appeared to crack the covering of the universe. O my dear Yudhishthir, this sound reached even the abodes of the demigods like Lord Brahma, and when the demigods heard it, they thought, "Oh, now our planets are being destroyed." While showing his extraordinary prowess, Hiranyakashipu, who desired to kill his own son, heard that wonderful tumultuous sound which had never before been heard. Upon hearing the sound, the other leaders of the demons were afraid. None of them could find the origin of that sound in the assembly. To prove that the statement of his servant Prahlada Maharaja was substantial, in other words, to prove that the Supreme Lord is present everywhere, even within the pillar of an assembly hall, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, exhibited a wonderful form, never before seen. The form was neither that of a man nor that of a lion. Thus the Lord appeared in his wonderful form in the assembly hall. While Hiranyakashipu looked all around to find the source of the sound, that wonderful form of the Lord, which could not be ascertained to be neither a man or a lion, emerged from the pillar. In amazement, Hiranyakashipu wondered, "What is this creature that is half man and half lion?" Hiranyakashipu studied the form of the Lord, trying to decide who the form of Narasimhadeva standing before him was. The Lord's form was extremely fearsome because of his angry eyes, which resembled molten gold, his shining mane, which expanded the dimensions of his fearful face, his deadly teeth, and his razor-sharp tongue, which moved about like a dueling sword. His ears were erect and motionless, and his nostrils and gaping mouth appeared like caves of a mountain. His jaws parted fearfully, and his entire body touched the sky. His neck was very short and thick, his chest broad, his waist thin, and the hairs on his body as white as the rays of the moon. His arms, which resembled flanks of soldiers, spread in all directions as he killed the demons, rogues, and atheists with his conch shell, disc, club, lotus, and other natural weapons. Hiranyakashipu murmured to himself, Lord Vishnu, who possesses great mystic power, has made this plan to kill me. But what is the use of such an attempt? Who can fight with me? Thinking like this and taking up his club, Hiranyakashipu attacked the Lord like an elephant. So it's amazing. You could see how proud Hiranyakashipu was, and you could say he was foolishly fearless. Because, if you just hearing this description of Narasimhadeva, it's very fearsome. So, but still, Hiranyakashipu, he was thinking, oh, who can fight me? In other words, I could defeat this person. So, interesting. Just as a small insect falls forcefully into a fire and the insignificant creature becomes invisible, when Hiranyakashipu attacked the Lord, who was full of effulgence, Hiranyakashipu became invisible. This is not all astonishing, for the Lord is always situated in pure goodness. Formerly during creation, he entered the dark universe and illuminated it by his spiritual effulgence. Thereafter, the great demon Hiranyakashipu, who was extremely angry, swiftly attacked Narasimhadeva with his club and began to beat him. Lord Narasimhadeva, however, captured the great demon along with his club, just as Garuda might capture a great snake. I have Garuda here. So there's devotees, they have painted a picture of this scene of Hiranyakashipu and Narasimhadeva fighting. And in this particular painting, Hiranyakashipu is standing up and he's very big. Narasimhadeva is standing up and he's very big and, half man, half lion, and he's got his... And he's fighting with Hiranyakashipu. And in this particular painting, Hiranyakashipu is quite small. And he's got his sword and his shield, and somehow or other he's a bluish color. And I'm not sure if that's described in the Bhagavatam that Hiranyakashipu is of a bluish color. But anyways, there was one devotee. He's actually the temple president of Salem, South India. And he saw this picture many years ago, and he was new, so he didn't know much. But he thought that because he heard that Krishna, right, was blackish, bluish, right? So he saw this figure in the painting fighting with this half man, half lion. So he actually thought that this figure that was actually Hiranyakashipu, he thought it was Krishna fighting some, demon or something. So he actually started offering his food. He actually started offering his food to this figure who he thought was Krishna, who was actually Hiranyakashipu. So he realized later that it was Hiranyakashipu, so he's having Hiranyakashipu prasadam, He's saying that, of course, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Patram pushpam palam toyam, if you offer me with love and devotion a flower, fruit, water, I'll accept it, leaf. So he was trying to follow that principle. But we have to follow the principles in full knowledge, because partial knowledge is dangerous. Or you could say, maybe not always dangerous. This fly seems to be attracted. Not always dangerous, but what do we do? Tolerate? Actually, when Srila Prabhupada was in Vrindavan, he brought devotees to Vrindavan with him for like the first time as Western disciples, and one devotee was commenting on Srila Prabhupada, and he was saying how tolerant Srila Prabhupada was, because one day he saw Srila Prabhupada walk outside, and he was like getting some water, or hanging up his gamsha or something, his towel, and outside. And he said as soon as Srila Prabhupada walked outside, a huge amount of flies just like practically covered his body. And Prabhupada was just, he didn't move. He just was hanging up his thing, and then he went back in. So maybe I'm just being tested here. So one devotee also was telling me when he heard about prasadam offering food to Krishna, what he did is he heard that we take Krishna's remnants. So his idea was that he would actually cook a whole pot of something, vegetarian something, and then he would actually throw it all away, aside from the small remnants at the bottom of the pot, and then he would take those remnants, because he was thinking that this is like the remnants of Krishna, this very bottom. Okay. Anyways, so this is what this devotee was also doing, offering to Hiranyakashipu. So it just goes to show that in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that things should be done, spiritual activities done, should be done in full knowledge. Because if they're done in partial knowledge or with the wrong understanding, then actually you don't get the right benefit. Like you could see with this person offering food to Hiranyakashipu. So we need to have knowledge in order to get the full benefit. Just like someone may be dancing before Tulsi and singing to Tulsi in the morning, but if they're not really understanding who Tulsi is, or then it could become mechanical. It could become, you could say what it could become mechanical. In other words, we're not really understanding what we're doing, and therefore, how can we get the benefit? We're just maybe getting the benefit of moving our arm like this. I don't know, get some exercise or something. Even then, you're not really getting much exercise, right? I don't know. So we have to try to understand what we're doing. All right, so we'll continue. All right, so they continue fighting, and then all right. Okay, here we go. Making a loud, shrill sound of laughter, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan, who is extremely strong and powerful, captured Hiranyakashipu, who was protecting himself with his sword and shield, leaving no gaps open. With the speed of a hawk, Hiranyakashipu moved sometimes in the sky and sometimes on the earth. His eyes closed because of fear of Narasimhadeva's laughter. As a snake captures a mouse, or Garuda captures a very venomous snake, Lord Narasimhadev captured Hiranyakashipu, who could not be pierced even by the thunderbolt of King Indra. As Hiranyakashipu moved his limbs here, there, and all around, very much afflicted at being captured, Lord Narasimhadev placed the demon on his lap, supporting him with his thighs, And in the doorway of the assembly hall, the Lord very easily tore the demon to pieces with the nails of his hand. Purport. Hiranyakashipu had received from Lord Brahma the benediction that he would not die on the land or in the sky. Therefore, to keep the promise of Lord Brahma intact, Nrsimhadev placed Hiranyakashipu's body on his lap, which was neither land or sky. Hiranyakashipu had received the benediction that he would not die either during the day or night. Therefore, to keep this promise of Lord Brahma, the Lord killed Hiranyakashipu in the evening, which is the end of day and the beginning of night, but is neither day nor night. Hiranyakashipu had taken a benediction from Lord Brahma that he would not die from any weapon or be killed by any person, dead or alive. Therefore, just to keep the word of Lord Brahma, Lord Nrsimhadev pierced Hiranyakashipu's body with his nails, which were not weapons, and were neither living nor dead. Indeed, the nails can be called dead, but at the same time they can be said to be alive. To keep intact all of Lord Brahma's benedictions, Lord Nrsimhadev paradoxically, but very easily, killed the great demon Hiranyakashipu. So, Hiranyakashipu's desire, his desire was to become immortal. He didn't want to die. And therefore he worshipped Lord Brahma, and he asked for these benedictions, right, that we just read. And Lord Brahma gave these benedictions. So Krishna, or Nrsimhadev, trying to uphold, or not just trying to, but actually upholding Lord Brahma, his great devotee's promises to Hiranyakashipu, he kept all those intact, but still he killed Hiranyakashipu. So Krishna, he never fails in, you could say, protecting his devotee, like Prahlada, and he also never fails in keeping the word of his devotee intact, or the promise. So therefore Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, he says, declare it boldly, Arjun, that my devotee never perishes. And why did Krishna ask Arjuna to declare it boldly? You know? Huh? You want to take in the mic?
You said Krishna will keep the promise of his devotee, so that's why he asked Arjuna.
So Krishna will keep the promise of his devotee. So he's saying, you Arjuna, declare it boldly. My devotee will never perish. But why won't Krishna, why couldn't Krishna just declare it boldly?
Even in Mahabharata we see like Krishna is breaking his promise to protect, like take up weapons or something. So
what's the example?
In Mahabharata, like to protect Arjuna from Bhishma, he broke his promise of not taking up any weapons.
So Krishna made a promise. He said, I won't take up any weapons in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. But to protect his devotee Arjuna, then he got a weapon, right? The will, fighting with Bhishma Dev. So Krishna sometimes breaks promises to protect his devotees, to serve his devotees. But Krishna will always uphold the promise of his devotees. So therefore he said, declare it boldly, Arjuna, that my devotee never perishes. So he always protects his devotees, like Prahlada, and he keeps intact the promises of his devotees. That's why there's the principle of we want to serve the devotees because the devotees could actually bless us. The devotees won't curse us. Usually. I know of a couple cases of devotees cursing people. But generally it's a blessing curse. Means something good comes from it. But sometimes I've heard of curses and I don't exactly see how something good came from it. But anyways, I won't tell you this one intense one because it's maybe not appropriate for the Bhagavatam class, but too close to home. But a kind of amusing one was that I was at a temple. I won't tell you which temple it was. But there was one devotee and he was the cook for the Krishna and he was cooking lunch, but he wasn't cooking anything traditional. Like it was just everything we usually don't offer to the deities. Whatever, tofu, this, that, so many things. So it wasn't traditional at all. And the leaders were getting mad at him. The president was getting mad. You know, they were saying, hey, you need to cook and traditional things, rice, dal, sabji, these different. And he was not wanting it. So it was a whole battle. So then he took out his thread, took out his Brahmin thread, and he wrapped it like this, and he broke it. And he said, I curse you. Anyways, I don't know what happened. I don't think nothing happened to her. Nothing happened to the president, but. And I know of another case of somebody cursing somebody, and something did happen actually to the person. But you have Narada Muni. He cursed Nalakuva and Manigriva to become trees, but then they became trees, and then they saw Krishna. So it was a blessing curse. So the devotees generally don't curse, but through, you could say, harming or offending the devotees, it acts like a curse on us. And I don't want to say that Krishna curses us, but just by, you could say, the arrangement of Krishna, or by the arrangement of how things have been set up, it says that the longevity of our lives, opulence, so many things just diminish with offending of devotees. But by serving the devotees, we get their blessings. And blessings could come in the form of just good wishes, like they're wishing us well. That's actually a great blessing. To have great devotees wish us well, I mean, it may seem like, oh, well, what's the big deal? Like, so what? But it actually is a big deal to have great devotees wishing us well. So if we, you could say, serve the devotees nicely and we act in such a way that is, they're satisfied or happy with us, then we could get their blessings. They could wish us well. Which, again, because they're wishing us well, Krishna pays attention to it. Therefore, they have the saying, oh, please pray for me. Which sometimes it could become just like a kind of roll off the tongue, a bit of a superficial thing. Oh, please pray for me. But if somebody is sincere and they say, please pray for me, why? Because the understanding is that I'm approaching somebody with the idea that you're close to Krishna or you're close to our spiritual master. So if you pray for me, they'll listen to you more than they'll listen to me. So please pray for me. And that could be also a source of blessing for us. Interesting enough, the Nectar Devotion says, even the glance could be a form of blessing. Just the glance. So there's different ways we could become blessed. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, there's a very beautiful, I'm not exactly sure where he wrote it, or where it is in one of his books or writings, but it's in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, and in the commentary of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And it's really good, so I could paraphrase it, but I think it's better if we read it directly. I'm sorry to ask you, but do you think you could go up to the room there, and it's on the desk? It's on the desk with the lamp, and there's a Chaitanya Bhagavat. Yeah. So it's a really great. We could get you some prasadam before you go. Something to go. Want to get? Where are you visiting from? Oh, okay, good. Do you live by the temple? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, good. Where are the kids now? Oh, yeah. I guess they're a little older. Okay. How many? 2? Girls? Girls. Boy and girl. 19 and 18. Okay. All right. Good. Yeah, Dallas is a nice, very beautiful temple. Inside and all the pictures and the ceiling, and very beautiful temple. Beautiful restaurant too. Good. Yeah, the designer of the temple and the restaurant, they did a really good job.
The restaurant's great. I like the flowers you got. That's nice.
Oh, outside? Yeah.
We can't grow all that stuff in Dallas.
Oh, really?
In the winter and the summer, we won't make all the flowers.
Yeah.
But the restaurant is nice. They have that tree in the middle.
Yeah, it's very beautiful. Yeah, in San Diego, it's kind of year round. It has the weather to kind of. So you're here. Thank you. So you're here for some days?
We're just here. We're leaving tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow. Just 2 days, huh?
Yeah.
Quick.
Yeah.
Getaway. All right. That's good. Well, we have a festival tonight at 5:30. Well, there'll be a lot of guests, and then there'll be a kirtan, and then there'll be a talk on similar topic, and then there'll be a drama by our Sunday school children, 7:15 to 7:30, and yeah, and then they're making a big feast today, so yeah, here tonight at 5:30. So this particular verse, it is from Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and he says, "Without duplicity, I will approach a Vaishnava with straw between my teeth, with folded hands, and with a cloth hanging from my neck. I will cry and reveal to him my miserable condition. I will beg him for relief from the fire of material existence. After hearing about my miserable condition, the Vaishnava Thakur will profusely appeal to Krishna on my behalf." So it says he'll appeal to Krishna on my behalf. By his appeal, the most merciful Krishna will become compassionate towards this sinner. So it's interesting point. So Krishna, he hears and he keeps intact the promises of his devotees, the benedictions of his devotees. So that's what he was doing here with Lord Brahma. Okay, so does anybody have any questions or comments? What about from Zoomland?
Yes, I have a question.
Okay.
Balaram Prabhu, Dandavat Pranams. Prabhu, I just got out of ISKCON Denver Srimad Bhagavatam class related to today's festival. Narasimhadeva appearance day.
Yes.
And the text chosen by the speaker, it was Canto 7, Chapter 8, Text 31.
Wow, that's
And-
amazing because that's the verse I just read. Actually, no, I didn't make it to that one. I was going to read that, but I didn't. So, okay.
Yes, and the quote from the purport, it is the last sentence of the purport, and it goes as follows, quote, "As Hiranyakashipu was killed in a second, the godless civilization can be destroyed at any moment," end quote. Based on this quote, I asked the question to the speaker, and he gave me his answer, and I would like to get from you your answer, and the question is, when Narasimhadeva was killed by, when Hiranyakashipu was killed by Narasimhadeva, it happened in the personal way. Krishna took the form of Narasimhadeva and killed the demons. In relation to this, to the destruction of our godless civilization, how do you think it will happen? Do you think that Lord Narasimhadeva will come again, or it will happen in a different way?
Okay. So, let's see here.
The last sentence of
Yes, I see
7,
it.
8,
As
31.
Hiranyakashipu was killed in a second, the godless civilization can be destroyed at any moment. Well, for Krishna to come personally and destroy the civilization, I mean, it's rare. I mean, it's scheduled, like Kalki coming, and there's a whole partial devastation, and then the complete devastation. So these things are scheduled, but then on the other hand, you could say that he definitely has the ability to do that. I mean, he could make all the possible arrangements, whether it's directly or indirectly. He could make all the arrangements for it to be destroyed in a moment. I mean, just look at the. I mean, it's artificial living. I mean, we are depending on all of these diesels, trucks, practically speaking. I mean, to drive into San Diego, to unload all the vegetables and fruits and milk and all these different products, right? To fill up Ralph's and not Henry, Sprouts and all these different places. These it's not that Trader Joe's and aside from depending on all of these diesel trucks to ship in things from around America, we're also depending on world trade. I mean, we're depending on planes and boats and all of these things to the boats to sail in and to the planes to, fly in with dried mangoes from Mexico, or of course you could drive that, but olives from Turkey, all this stuff. I mean, in America, I would say maybe we're a little spoiled because you could just get anything from anywhere very easily in like a day. You could just order it online and it's here. But this is all depending on gasoline. It's all depending on the workers actually having a desire to work. Actually, I heard that there's a truck driver shortage in America. It means people are kind of, I don't know, maybe they're sick of it or they're getting fed up or they're not being paid well enough or they just want to sit home and get welfare or something. I don't know. Who knows? I forgot the details, but there's some shortage. I mean, you could understand me. It's a very difficult job. It's very difficult. You're like by yourself, you're driving, and some ways it could be. You can listen to a lot of lectures if you're a devotee or something, or kirtan. I actually know a devotee who's a truck driver. So it's dependent on all these external arrangements. So that could be stopped. That could easily be stopped, right? Krishna just orders stop, and it stops. And there's so many things like that. Water, I mean, that could also be stopped. Rain. What happens if it doesn't rain? Of course, all the carnivorous people out there. But also, it depends. The rain, you have to feed the animals that they're going to slaughter and eat. They all subsisting on rain because the grass. And so however you look at it, the rain, the natural resources. So Krishna could stop all of it. So it's definitely, and he could like you said, he could stop all of it at any moment. Of course, he's not doing that, but he could. So, but then all these godless people, they're all puffed up. Oh yeah, we don't need God, and we're so great, and we could take care of ourselves. We could do everything, right? But what could they do? Stop the rain, stop the gas supply, and then they're finished. So therefore the devotees, they're grateful, right? Krishna is providing so much despite us not serving him like we should. He's still giving us so much. So let us offer it all back out of love and devotion, and let us be Krishna conscious. So anyways, I hope that satisfies you.
Yes, Prabhu, very satisfactory. And if I may, in your country, in the 30s, when the Big Depression happened, what is it that the powerful men did? They were jumping from the buildings.
Yes.
In order to that was the solution for the problem. In order to commit suicide.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a Great Depression. People were, anyways. But, I mean, now...
A shortage of work and money.
Yeah.
And the solution they used was jumping from buildings and in order to kill themselves.
Yeah. I mean, nowadays, so many very loved, to a degree, whatever that means, but appreciated, valued, materially speaking, people are just very miserable. And aside from being very miserable, they just don't know what to do about it. They just have no answer. Nor do the people they're communicating with, because you'd think that these people are so wealthy and rich, they could talk to anybody they want in the world because they got money. And that's how people operate. They'll talk with you. Some people, this is how they operate. They say, okay, you have money. Means they could hire any doctor, any psychologist, anybody they want, any therapist, right? But still, these people, although having so much money, they cannot find the answer. It means they're confused. And they can't find anybody, or they don't know anyone who has the answer. And therefore, they give up, and they remain miserable and depressed. And sometimes they just take their own life because they don't know what to do. I know many devotees who suffer from depression as some type of, you could say, chemical imbalance or whatever it is, or some type of chemical thing going on. I know many devotees who suffer from that. But through their practice of Krishna consciousness, it may not, for a lot of them, anyways, it's a whole topic in of itself, but Krishna consciousness helps vastly it helps them to the point where they're not going to like, I mean, it's not funny at all, but they're not going to take their lives. Which previously, if they didn't take the Krishna consciousness, they may have taken their lives. Just like you have, whatever this, somebody told me, some huge, country music singer, famous, wealthy, famous, again, could talk to anybody, doctor she wanted. And she just was fighting depression for many years. She decided, okay, I'm just going to take my life. Same with one, I won't say his name because it's not necessary, but one person's very famous Hollywood actor who's famous when I was growing up, still is, still making movies, chewing the chew. Anyway, still making movies, but his wife, I mean, she also didn't know what to do. So she was just, okay, I'm going to take my life. So many of them like that. Or like I was mentioning some time ago, this was somewhat recent. I mean, this girl, she was America's, what do you call? Beauty. She won the American beauty pageant. She was Miss America. Miss America, and this was like, I don't know, 2019 or something like that. But it wasn't that long ago. So she was Miss America. So you could say she was riding the wave of, fame and adoration and some prestige. Okay, I'm Miss America. And there's something there. I mean, because out of so many women who enter the competition, only so many get picked to actually participate in the competition. And out of those who participate in the competition, only one's picked, and that was her. So, but then fast forward a little bit, and the media stops paying attention to you because there's always new ones appearing on the scene, so they stop paying attention to you. And then she was writing and speaking to people how sometimes when she says that she's in her 30s, she's not that old, but she says she cringes when she has to tell people that. But it's this whole bodily conception that, okay, I'm old, my body's old, but no, you're the soul. And why do you have to base your happiness on the body, which is going to be a failure? You're the soul. But she didn't understand this. And therefore, she decided, okay, let me just take my life. And she was living in Manhattan. And living in Manhattan means you're living in, skyscraper buildings. And she's, okay, let me just jump. And she jumped to her death. So, but Krishna consciousness, it solves that problem. Because, okay, the body's getting older. That's what it does. It gets older. No need to be depressed about it. What to speak of taking our lives on that basis. So in other words, Krishna consciousness erases so much suffering. And it will help so many people, actually. And it is helping so many people. And it's tough, being a youth these days, younger person in America and around the world. So therefore, the knowledge we find is very valuable. Because it does give the answers. Okay, you're suffering, this is why, and this is how you solve the problem. And if you need further help, which you will, accept a guru, a Diksha guru. And if you need further help, which you will, you need to have Shiksha gurus, instructing teachers. And by all of this, we could manage to not suffer, and actually be happy. Brahma Saukyam Tvanantam, the unlimited happiness. All right. So, thank you for your comment and question. Is you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
You're welcome, Balaram Prabhu.
All right.
Wonderful talk. Wonderful answer to my question. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. All right. So now we will greet the deities. And yeah. Hare Krishna.